morning, Mid-Missouri. It is Tuesday, February 6th, 2018.
Thanks for waking up with us. It's not nearly as bad as it was last night.
Even we were bracing ourselves this morning. What are we up for?
I know.
But the roads are actually not
driving so slowly.
Yeah, and that's why you made it. You did a good job.
I didn't even drive that slowly, and it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's just going to be neighborhoods and side streets, anything that was really super untreated the past couple of days that we're going to have issues with this morning. But you're right, main roads are pretty much good to go. We're all dealing with the cold this morning. It's actually not quite as cold actual air temperature-wise this morning. Back into the single digits so far just for our northern areas. Chillicothe, Macon, Hannibal, you guys are all single digits this morning. Still sitting at 15 right now in Columbia and nearing the 20-degree mark, still kind of hanging on to some slightly warmer conditions from Jefferson City near the Lake of the Ozarks area. Just a mix of clouds and clear skies out there this morning. Some of our areas just off to the west nearing Pettis County starting to pick up on a few really light flurries this morning. We could see a couple of flurries in and out throughout the day. Otherwise, we are going to be dry for your morning commute, for the lunch hour, and much of our mid-afternoon hours as well. We're going to take another look at that snowfall and ice potential forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Today, President Trump can decide whether or not to release the Democratic response to a Republican FBI memo released last week.
Democrats say this new memo would fill in fact holes left by the GOP's memo on the FBI's alleged mishandling of the Russia investigation. The House Intelligence Committee voted unanimously to release the Democratic rebuttal on Monday. The president says he'll give the Democratic memo the same consideration he gave the Republican memo. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro says Secretary of State Rex Tillerson's visit to Latin America has failed. Over the weekend, Tillerson was on tour of Latin America, not including Venezuela. He tried to put pressure on President Maduro, threatening oil sanctions. The president says any U.S. sanction won't affect Venezuela's ability to sell oil.
Right, here's what's happening right now. Asian and European markets tumbling hard after a bad day on Wall Street. Dizzying losses. That's what the Dow Jones Industrial Average saw. Biggest losses, in fact, in 6.5 years at the Dow. In Europe, where the trading day is in full swing, London's index down, Germany also down, France down, all trending. And in Asia, where the exchanges had all closed, Japan, Hong Kong, Australia, South Korea, Singapore, all down significantly, and all fingers are pointing at such a bad day on Wall Street is now reverberating through the markets of the world.
It's interesting to see how delicate the balances are there, where one thing can very much affect another.
Yeah, it's a bad day for sure on investing.
All right, thank you.
A man wrongfully accused of being the button pusher in Hawaii's false missile alert is speaking out. The AP posted a photo of Jeffrey Wong from July of 2017 with its story first breaking the news of the alert. But Wong wasn't responsible for that error. In fact, he was on a completely different island at the time the false alert went out. Wong says he had to go to police after he received terror threats against him.
A woman who accused President Trump of sexual harassment is running for office. 35-year-old Rachel Crooks is running for the Ohio State Legislature. Crooks said Trump kissed her on the mouth without her consent in 2005 when she worked for a real estate company with offices in Trump Tower. President Trump has denied the allegations from Crooks and his other accusers. A federal judicial council is dismissing a sexual harassment complaint against a U.S. appeals court judge. The council is referring the matter to Congress because Judge Alex Kozinski stepped down in December. The Washington Post reported 15 women accused Kozinski of sexual misconduct. The council says it didn't conduct an investigation.
The CEO for athletic apparel company Lululemon has resigned after claims of misconduct. Laurent Potvin headed the company for 4 years. The company said in a statement he fell short of employee standards but wouldn't specify how. Chairman Glenn Murphy will be the interim executive chairman, and 3 other senior leaders will step up to fill in other responsibilities. A Philadelphia judge will hold a hearing today on a 2015 Amtrak derailment case that killed 8 travelers and injured more than 200 others. The Pennsylvania Attorney General wants to reinstate criminal charges against the engineer in that crash. Prosecutors want to hold Brandon Bostjian accountable for entering a curve at more than twice the speed limit.
A South Carolina man's picking up the pieces of his home after a DUI suspect drove into it. Anderson County deputies were pulling the driver over for speeding when he took off. They lost the suspect briefly while passing through an intersection. They arrested the driver after the crash and are looking for a passenger who ran away. A Colorado deputy is dead after a shooting that hurt 3 other officers. Colorado Springs police say a stolen car investigation yesterday turned into a chase with shots fired. Police say the suspect is dead. Officials say the 34-year-old fallen deputy, Micah Flick, was celebrating his 11th anniversary of his hiring.
A father and son are accused of moving more than $1 million worth of drugs in North Dakota. The pair was pulled over for a traffic stop on Sunday. Deputies say they found more than 200 pounds of marijuana, 5 pounds of THC wax, and 8 grams of meth. Authorities arrested the father and son on possession charges with intent to deliver. Minneapolis crews say it'll take another 2 days at least to clean up the post-Super Bowl mess. When it comes to the cleanup, they plan on leaving it better than they found it. Cleanup crews will also recycle as much as possible for future events. The goal is to have everything done before the weekend, but winter weather may set them back a day or two.
University of California at Berkeley spent almost $4 million on security last year during violent demonstrations on campus. The university says it would have rather spent the money on academics, but safety is a priority. Demonstrations started in response to an event with a controversial conservative speaker. The money paid for police, ambulances, barricades, and other security costs. It's been a rough couple of days for New England Patriots star Rob Gronkowski. First, his team lost the Super Bowl. Then he returned home to find someone burglarized his home. Police are investigating.
A rocket with a mission to take a car to Mars is set to launch today in Florida. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk is launching the first Falcon Heavy rocket with a Tesla Roadster on board. Liftoff is scheduled for 2:30 Central Time. According to Musk, the nose cone housing the Roadster and a test dummy will swing near Mars. The main boosters will fall back to Earth.
Students in one New Jersey school district are waking up this morning after a 3-day weekend because of the flu. It wasn't the students who were sick. It was the bus drivers and the staff. About a third of the bus drivers for the Branchburg School District were out sick. The district has 2,000 students. A Kansas House committee is considering a new age requirement for state offices. This comes after 6 teens entered the gubernatorial race. 6 of them. Candidates would have to be at least 18 years old to run. Proponents of the bill say most states require candidates to be older. If approved, the changes wouldn't take effect until after this fall's election.
Lee Elementary in Columbia could have a new name in the fall. The link to submit suggestions is currently live on the Columbia Public Schools website. The renaming committee is accepting name submissions until March 31st. Lee Elementary is an expressive arts school that allows students to connect art to the rest of their curriculum. One committee member says it's important the name represents the school's mission appropriately.
It's really important to me that we choose a good name or recommend a good name for the Board of Education that reflects well of the community and the school.
The renaming committee says it will follow a protocol to score all of the submissions based on the school's mission, geographical relevance, and other categories.
The 37-year-old Hollywood mystery of Natalie Wood's death is back in the spotlight as investigators say details just don't add up. Wood died in 1981 on a yacht. Her husband, Robert Wagner, and fellow actor Christopher Walken were with her that day. The coroner first ruled the 43-year-old's death a drowning, but Wagner is now a person of interest. He's long denied any involvement in Wood's death. Natalie Holloway's mother is suing NBC's Oxygen Network over its documentary series about her daughter. Holloway was 18 years old when she disappeared on a high school trip in 2005. The family's attorney says a judge declared her legally dead in 2012. Her mother says an Oxygen documentary falsely claimed to know how Natalie died. She's seeking $35 million in the lawsuit.
Actor John Mahoney, best known for playing the father in TV's Frasier, has passed away at the age of 77. Mahoney played Martin Crane, the grumpy father of the title character. He died in Chicago on Sunday after a short battle with an illness. He got his Master of Arts at Western Illinois University. Pepsi's CEO is facing some backlash today after saying the company is developing Doritos chips specifically for women. Indra Nooyi says she wants to design better snack packaging for women, but also says it's because women don't like to crunch too loudly in public or lick their fingers to get the cheesy powder off. Some social media users tweeted about the move, saying it reinforces gender inequality.
The St. Louis Olympics were more than 100 years ago. The city is just now getting to use the famous Olympic rings. The 1904 Olympics were before the rings existed, and the International Olympic Committee finally gave permission to use them at 2 sites. Installation is for one of the sculptures scheduled for this fall.
One of the world's top ivory and rhino horn trafficking investigators was found dead at his home in Kenya. Bradley Martin, who traveled the world for decades to expose trafficking routes in Laos, Vietnam, Ethiopia, and Nigeria, was found with multiple stab wounds. Police are investigating the crime and have not released a motive.
Parents of young children may be making their children vulnerable on social media. What you should know about what you share.
And we're just waking up to a little bit of cloud cover out your door this morning. We're going to talk about that mix of snow and freezing rain possible for later on this afternoon. It's coming up right after the break.
The first, a live look over the Columbia Regional Airport at 5:10. You're watching KOMU 8 News today.
Have you been in a car accident and suffer from neck and back pain? Dr. Brooks Trappis and Dr. Stephen Street of Lordex Spine Center can relieve your pain if you suffer from neck pain, low back pain, headaches, numbness, pinched nerves, or muscle spasms. Lordex Spine Center offers chiropractic care, spinal decompression,